list, we got the Philadelphia Eagles. First off, starts with coaching staff. First head coach, we got Nick Sirianni. He had like his first year, it's really just like up and coming year. Like nobody expected much. Second season, they had a really good year. They made all in the Super Bowl. This past season, they started off really good, but they ended up terribly. They barely made the playoffs. They got them in their division. They lost in the wild card round. We'll say I'm sorry, but he's still a good coach. And once again, since last year, got two no coordinators. So the defensive coordinator, you got Kellen Moore. He's a former Cowboys and Chargers OC. He's had some. He's also a former NFL quarterback, so he was a former backup for the Cowboys. Didn't do much as a quarterback. He's a good OC. Then DC, you brought in Vic Fangio. He's in last year's Dolphins DC. He's fine. He was also a former Broncos head coach. He's fine, but he's not great. But he should be better than Matt Patricia because Matt Patricia is not a good coach at this point. But that's not saying a ton. But Fangio should be a good DC. So that's it for your coaching staff. You got some good coaches. Two new coordinators again. So how does that go? So let's go to your depth chart. First, let's go to quarterback. Continues starter. You got Jalen Hurts. He still had a good year last year. He just a lot of people. It's just he had a lot more picks. In two more games, he only had one more touchdown. But he had a ton of rushing. But he still had this 15 rushing touchdowns. A lot of those were like run yard rushes, like the Phillies special or whatever, like touch push. Like a lot of those were his touchdowns. So like 1 yard rushes. So there wasn't like long rushes first. He's still a pretty good quarterback. He's a good in rushing game. So yeah, then it's your best backup. You got Kenny Pickett. He's a bad starter, but he's a fine backup, and he's a guy that still has some potential. So maybe if Hurts does struggle, he can go to Pickett. He might be fine. You don't want him starting. And behind him, you also got Tanner McKee. He was a draft. This is his second year, or 6th round pick. He's not gonna be able to beat out Pickett unless Pickett just is terrible. So I think at best McKee's will be practice squad guy. Remember, Fletcher just has a third quarterback. He also got Will Greer. He's a fine backup, but that's really it. He's not that good. He's been around the league a lot. So that's it for your quarterback. Now let's go to running back. It's one of your big signings. You brought in Saquon. You brought him over from Giants. You brought him over for division rival. He's had a lot of good years, but he hasn't had a lot of healthy years. Like he hasn't had a fully healthy season since his rookie year. Like yeah, but he's still really good and healthy. He did miss 3 games last year, but in 14 games he had 162 yards. He had 6 touchdowns on the ground. And through the air, he had 41 catches. He had 280 yards, and he had 4 touchdowns for the air. So he had 10 total touchdowns last year. He's still a really good running back. And the Eagles, they have a better offensive line than the Giants, so that also helps. Like even with Kelsey's retirement, they still got some good offensive linemen. Then behind them, we got Kenneth Gainwell. Like I don't know how much they want to do running back committee just because he got a guy who could be true number one now in Barkley, but they always seem to like to D running back by committee. So we'll see there, but he's a good starter and he's a really good number two. You know, behind him, we got Will Shipley. He's a rookie. He's a fine backup, but he didn't have a great career at Clemson. But he's a fine young momentum guy. So just to see what he got. Will Nichols is bad. But he's your fourth stringer, so it's a big deal. Well, that's it for your running back room. Now let's go to wide receivers. You got a good, really good 1-2 punch in AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. Those guys are really good. Like that trade they made a couple years ago for AJ Brown was a great trade. Like he's a big part of them making the Super Bowl last year. Obviously didn't win it, but he was still a big part of it. He had a good year last year. Hopefully have another great year. Then you also got Devontae Smith behind him. He got a big payday a while ago. He's a really good like most teams you beat. There's number one, but as your number two wideout, that's pretty good. Behind him, we got a lot of questions because your third wideout, you got Paris Campbell. He's okay, but he's dealt with a lot of injuries. So can he stay healthy? Like his first 3 years with the Colts, he a total first 3 years with the Colts, he played a total of 15 games. His final year there, he played all 17, but then last year missed 5 more with the Giants. So he's finally healthy, but can he stay healthy? Behind him, we do have a giant at wide receiver in Johnny Wilson. He's 6'6", 228. There were some conversations about moving to tight end, but it doesn't sound like that's happening, at least according to this depth chart. He's really just a young elemental guy because he was a sixth-round pick. Then behind them, we also got John Ross, former top 10 pick bust. He's really just has a ton of speed, but he's not a good wide receiver. Like he might maybe be able to beat some guys like deep if he's not, just because he's so fast. But he's not good. And behind him, you also got Nia Smith, another rookie, fifth round pick. He's another young developmental guy. So, don't affect him much. So, probably be your sixth wideout just because you don't have anybody good behind them. Like Britton Covey and Jacob Harris, they're both bad. So, yeah. You also got Joseph Nata, UDFA, another guy from Clemson. He's a young developmental guy. We're not expecting much out of him ever, but especially not this year. And also got Austin Watkins Jr. and Griffin or keeper. Hang on with the guys, maybe Francisco guys. You know those guys are good. So like outside of AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, you got a lot of questions, and like you don't. Campbell does have a lot of this, a lot of injuries, and you got a lot of unproven guys in Johnny Wilson and Nia Smith. And John Ross is proven he's a bust. He's not a good wide receiver. But behind them, you don't have anybody good either. So we'll see what happens there. Campbell out the year, straight or since the season because the Bills have done that the past 2 years, so they could do it again. But now let's go. Now listen for our receiver. Now let's go to your tight ends. You got a top tight end league. You got Dallas Goddard. Yeah, so he did miss 3 games last year, but from 14 games, he had 59 catches. He had 592 yards. He had 3 touchdowns. That's a pretty good year for a tight end. Like so, yeah, he's a pretty good tight end. Behind them, we got Grant Calacaretra. This is his third year. He's really just young momentum guy. He's not that great, but he's fine. Then behind them, we also got CJ Uzama. He had some really good years with the Bengals, but these past few years with the Jets, he's not been good, and he's 31 now. So you're not expecting him to get back to level as a backup, like third string. That's fine. Behind them, you also got Al. I think that's supposed to be a comment. I have to try to say that last name because I'm not do good. To find backup tight end. Maybe he'll be able to beat out Uzama just because they might want a younger depth tight end just because Albert is only 26 versus Thomas Uzama is 31. So we'll see there. But both fine depth guys at this point. So yeah, now let's go to your offensive line. Like your offensive line's near the top of the league. Like even with losing Kelsey to retirement, they still got some really good players. Like they got some unproven guys in Jurgens and Steen. Both are I think they're second. So Jurgens is his third year. Steen is their second year. He was originally drafted to be kind of a tackle, but he has probably don't be your starting right guard just because he don't have much. Because Mekhi Becton, he's a fine starter. He's also played mostly tackle. He's also dealt with a lot of injuries. So we'll see what happens there. Let's go left tackle. Gotcha Lamaida. He's a really good left tackle. He's a really good tackle. Like him and Lane Johnson are one of, if not the best tackle combo, like duo. Problem is, like Laida's not too old, but Lane Johnson, he is 34. So how much longer he's gonna play for? But he's still really good. Like these are two really good tackles right there. You got. And behind them, we got Fred Johnson, Darian Kennard. Kennard's in the middle with the guy. Johnson's not good, but he's okay. So yeah. But then you also but Mekhi Becton can also play some tackle, so he might also be your main backup tackle, so you can play that. Then you also got um, Liken Vikalia and Aman Daikwa. Bad depth. They should make the roster. And then not typically remember Clark because he is on IRs, and he's not going to be. It's going to be tougher to make the roster, even if he was injured. But the injury obviously doesn't help. So left guard, you got one of the top left guards in the league. You got Landon Dickerson. Like he originally kind of drafted him as a hopeful eventual replacement to Crowley, but he's fit perfectly right in. He's your left guard, so you're not moving center now. He's been great for them. Behind him, you got Trevor Keegan. He's young about the guy. Yeah, and then you also got Max Sharping. He's bad depth, but he also brought in Nick Gates from the Giants, and he has been starting for them. He hasn't been a great starter. He's an okay starter. He was brought in recently, so it might be a little tougher to move up just because of that. Let's go center. Like you drafted Jurgens to like once you knew Dickerson was be your starting left guard, you drafted Jurgens the next year to be your replacement for Kelsey. He hasn't played at all. But hey, this Eagles team is always good at drafting and develop offensive linemen. So I'm not gonna say he couldn't be good, but he's unproven, so you might not have a good rookie. You might not have a good first year as a starter because he isn't a rookie, but he hasn't started at all because Kelsey hasn't been injured. And behind him, you also got Matt Hennessy. You brought him in from the Falcons. He's an okay starter. So if Jurgens does struggle, you can go to Hennessy and he'll be fine. We'll see. You also got Dylan McMahon. He's a rookie. He's just young, a month guy, but he could make it. I don't think he's gonna be able to make it over these guys. So probably practice squad. So let's go to right guard. You got Tyler Steen. He's okay. He's a young amount. He's just a young tackle. We was originally drafted as a tackle, but he's moving to guard. Hopefully, he'll have that first year in the NFL was a good year of development for him, but we'll see. So you got Mekhi Becton. I already talked about him a little bit. He can be a fine starter, but can he stay healthy? And Brett Toth is not good. So let's go to. I already talked about Johnson. No, that's if your offense. Like this offensive line is great. Like they're near the top. I don't think they're the top anymore. Just going to there, like depending on how these young guys do, they might be it next year. But I still think they are this year, just because they got two like right going into the season, just because they have two unproven guys, Steven Jurgens. But like around them, you're great. But like they still are right near the top because of those top three guys that can make up for two decent guys. Should be decent. So let's go to your defense. You got a defensive line that is a lot of depth. Let's just put that way. You did lose Hassan Reddick, but you replaced him with Bryce Huff. But you did also lose Dexter Cox to retirement. He was still a fine player, but he had declined a little bit, but so we'll see there. But yeah, I don't know what to talk about much because he's retired now. And so yeah, you got Milton Williams. He's a fine starter, but like he probably won't be playing a ton of minutes in the line because you got those outside linebackers and you got defensive tackles in front of him and Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, two former first round picks. They've both been good, but they haven't really been great yet. But we'll see. Maybe they'll remember what they need because they're still pretty young. Both former Georgia guys. Like this team has a lot of former Georgia players on it. Like I'm not gonna go look through to see, but yeah, they have a lot of them. And like Davis and Carter are really good. Those are good. That's a good 1-2 defense tackle jump depth combo. Then behind them, we also got Mario Jamo. He's a rookie. He's young of a month guy. And they also got Marlon Tuliapoto and Thomas Booker. They're both not very good, but they're okay depth. They just got PJ Mustafer and Gabe Hall. Maybe one was practice squad guy, but neither of those guys are very good. So yeah, it's like you got good starters at defensive tackle, but you don't have great depth behind them. But it's like if these guys haven't shown they've dealt with the injuries, so this shouldn't be the biggest deal. They probably won't, but it does happen that you can never count out. Even players haven't dealt with injuries in the past. So now let's go to the outside linebackers. You brought in Bryce Tuff. You pretty much he wasn't a trade included in trade for Hassan Reddick. It was pretty much just a swap because they traded Hassan Reddick to the Jets and they signed Bryce Tuff from the Jets. But yeah, Bryce Huff's a pretty good edge rusher. But he's mostly just a rotation guy because that's what the Eagles always are. Like even with all these great defensive linemen, like even with Davis, Carter, Cox, Graham, Huff, Reddick and Sweat, they have to rotate it. That's why they still drafted Noah Smith Jr. in the first round last year. But yeah, and then Josh Sweat, he's a really good edge. He's another pretty good edge rusher. And Brandon Graham, he's still a good player, but he's not as good as he used to be. He's getting pretty old, but he's a good veteran because this defensive line is relatively young. These guys don't have a ton of experience out of Graham, so you bring that experience to this team now. Cox retired. Well, yeah, so yeah, we'll see there, but yeah, he's still a fine player and helps as a rotation player, so he doesn't have to play a ton this way, like be a starter for a ton this point in his career, which helps. It's like it's tough for these guys at this age in their career, at this age, to be consistent, great starters the whole time. But we'll stay there. Smith, he didn't play much last year, but just because they had great depth, like they always do. But yeah, like he should get some more playing time this year, hopefully with their development. But they drafted him in last year's draft. No one they probably didn't play him much his rookie year. They were just like a draft and stash kind of thing. In the Eagles always the Eagles love to have great defensive line rotations. So we'll see there. And then we also got Taron Jackson and Jalix Hunt. Jalix Hunt's the undeveloped guy. Jackson's not good at all. Let's just be honest. We also got Patrick Johnson. This is his fourth season, but he's not going to make this roster. At least he shouldn't, just because with the guys that in front of him. But yeah, like your defense line is pretty good. Now let's go to linebacker. This is a position Howie Roseman has never invested much in. Like he's done it in the defensive line and the secondary on the defense, but not much in linebacker group. But so we'll see. But they did bring in two new guys. They brought in Zach Bond from the Saints, and they brought in Devin White from the Bucks. Bond's a fine starter. Devin White, he has been a really good starter in the past, but he has struggled these past couple years. But he has been a really good blitzer, so hopefully he can step up and still be a good player for them. He is still relatively young. I think he's only like 26, 27, so he's still pretty young. And if he does struggle, he's only on a 1 year deal, so you can just let him walk in the offseason. If he does, it's terrible. Then you have to get Jamar Trotter Jr., rookie out of Clemson. Fifth round picks, we don't expect too much, but I think Bond's also 1 year deal, so like him and if Dean, Dean could be starters for them next year. Those are fine starters. Just Dean's been a okay starter for them, but he's been great. And Trotter, your development could be good starter for them, and those could be their good two starters next year if they let White and Bond both leave. Yeah, it's got Oren Burks and Ben Van Surium. Okay, depth, but not neither of them very good. They also got Brandon Smith. This is his third year, but he wasn't drafted by them, so we'll see there. Patriots still just kind of young him up to guy, maybe practice squad guy, but might not be that. So that's if your linebacker group. A lot of just you guys on 1 year deals and some younger guys that could develop and get a little better for right next year. So now let's go to your secondary. You drafted Cooper Jane and who's the other guy they drafted in this past draft? Where is he? Quinyon Mitchell. Sorry, I was blanking. So they drafted Eugene and they drafted Mitchell. So they're two rookies, two high draft picks. They should be good for them. But like they might, I feel like one of them might be able to replace Ringo but still, because I don't think they're going to move Max out of their starting slot because he's proven he's a good slot corner. He has also dealt with some injuries. He missed most of last year. He missed 7 games the previous year. So he still has some injuries. So he has some potential replacements if he does get injured again. But Max is a pretty good slot. Then you also got Darius Slade Jr. He has had a lot of good years. Like his second, not this past season, but the season before that, he had a really good year with the Eagles. This past season, he struggled and he is in his 30s. Like he is 33, so he's pretty old. So how can he? I don't think he's gonna. Can he get back up to at least a little better level? If he doesn't, you go at those young guys. Let's got Kelly Ringo, second year guy at Georgia. he was considered a steal of the draft. I still think he could be, so we'll see there. But he could be a fine starter. But he also got James Bradbury the fourth, who he struggled last year too, but he has been a good starter in the past, so he can be your starting corner too if Ringo does struggle. Like they have a good depth in the secondary if it does happen, because they have Isaiah Rogers. He's fine, but he's mostly just a return for the returner. So yeah, also got Quinn Mitchell, Cooper G, and two rookies. It's Quinn Mitchell should be they both should be good. Just where you see a great white corner, but it could happen. Like you really see a white corner in the NFL. It's just weird. And behind them, you also got Eli Ricks, another young guy. See what happens there, but he could be fine. You also got Zach McPherson and Tyler Hall. Neither of them are good. Neither of them should make this roster. You also got Josh Jobe, and he's another youngish guy, but I think he has gotten some starting time for them when they needed, but he hasn't been great. Harry Nickerson isn't that good either. So you like at the top of your cornerback depth chart, you got good depth and you got decent starters. So we'll see what happens there. So let's go to your safeties. You brought back CJ Gardner Johnson. He spent 1 year with the Lions last season. He dealt with he had a big injury this week one, I think, but he eventually came back and he still. So it's hard to say. But he had a good young year at the Eagles, so we'll see what happens there. They still get. He should still be his safety. Let's see, Reed Blankenship is a good starter, but it seems like the Eagles always find a good way to have decent starting safety, so he probably will be good. But he also got Tristan McCollum. He's really just a young developmental guy at this point, but you're not expecting a ton. And he also they have James Bradbury the fourth listed as a backup safety, but he'll probably mostly play corner. So we'll see. But he did draft Sidney Brown. So this is the second year of Illinois. So hopefully he'll be able to be back, just be a good depth backup safety for them by the start of the regular season. We'll see what happens there. He's still good. He's just young. He's just a developmental guy. And Andre Sam, he's bad. And then he also Mekhi Gardner. He's not great, but we'll see. LSU does tend to produce some good, decent corners, so we'll see what happens. But he wasn't drafted, so you're not expecting much out of him. Yeah, like this defense has some pretty good depth, and yeah, this defense should be good this year. Just can they stay healthy, and how is Fangio so good DC because he's getting up there. Not all DCs stay good once they get this old. And like just look at Mike Zimmer for example. Like he was a great defensive minded coach for the Vikings for a while, and he just fell off out of nowhere. He was terrible. So Fangio is almost 66 because he was born 58. So we'll see there. Now that's up for your defense and your right. So now let's go to your special teams. A kicker, got one of the top kickers in the league, and Jake Elliott. He's a good kicker. You also got Brady Mann. He's a decent punter. And in returners, you got Brinson Covey and Isaiah Rogers. If Covey makes this roster, it's because he's your kick punt returner. But I feel like I don't think they want that main reason to carry him, so they might just have Rogers be both the returners. Rogers is a good returner. I know they'll talk about their long snapper because it's just a long snapper. So that's it for your roster. Now let's go to your depth chart. I mean your schedule, excuse me. So week 1 and 2, two winnable games, but two tough games because the Packers should be good. The Falcons should also be good. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, Saints win. The Bucks that should be win. They don't want that revenge for that playoff loss in the wild card round this past playoff. So we'll see there. Browns, they should be able to win it just because that's home. But the Browns should be a really good team. They should have a great defense. Giants, you don't sleep the Giants. You just are. Bengals, I feel like they might lose this one just because it's consistency. Jaguars win. I feel like they're gonna split the season series with the Cowboys, like they usually do. They should sweep the Commanders too. Rams should be a win. Ravens lost. Ravens should be really good again this year. Even with some of their losses, they should still be really good. They got most of their top players still. Panthers win. Steelers win. Sweep the Commanders. Already talked about that. Cowboys, they'll split this. I think with the series like they usually do. And final week of the season, you got the Giants that should be sweep as well. So yeah, but then we'll see what happens. But we gotta remember, I can't remember how long the streak's going now, but no team in the NFC East has won the division back to back years for a long time. So can this team win the division again this year? Because they didn't win last year, so that's just in their favor. Cowboys did, so that's against the Cowboys. So we'll see what happens there. This team is a pretty good. This team should be pretty good. They for sure. Even if they don't win their division, they should make the playoffs. We'll see what happens there. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Hope you have a good rest of your night.